everybody. Now we're going to talk about setting up your business. I invited Mike Rogers here. I've worked with him in the past. He has recently set up his company and had a pretty smooth process. And so we've brought him in to be our expert and help us walk through this. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Mike Rogers. I set up a business about 2 years ago now called Winning Frameworks. Did it all myself. Didn't have any kind of like hand holding or any support system for it. Just kind of figured it out. Read a lot on the internet. Spent a lot of hours in the late night just trying to figure out what's the right way to go about things. And I've since helped quite a few friends stand up their business as well, following the same process. It's not anything special. You could do it yourself, but maybe this conversation will help you save a couple hours, maybe give you some more time back with your family or whatever the case may be. And so, very glad to be here with Beth and the team, and would love to share whatever I can.
Awesome. First of all, maybe you could just start by telling us what process did you go through to decide that you actually wanted to start your own company?
I stood up Winning Frameworks to be able to kind of grow my reach. Ultimately, at some point in the future, I do want to be able to fully sustain myself with consulting and be my own boss. And so there is a greater vision that I'm building to. But in the short term, it's really just how can I help people?
After you decided that you wanted to start your company, how did you get help in deciding whether you should be a sole proprietorship, an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever? What did you decide and how did you decide it?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, when I read all those different kinds of corporations that you can become, I had no idea. So honestly, like Google didn't even have like the AI search function back then when I was standing this up. I read through so many boring legal documents and so many like forums about on Reddit or whatever the case may be of what each of the different corporation types could mean. I did talk to some friends as well, but it was really just reading. I did ultimately settle on a sole proprietor LLC for the simple fact that I'm the sole proprietor, and an LLC is kind of the easiest way to move forward. From a business perspective for somebody that runs a business like how I do.
And do you mean that because of the protections it provides of your personal assets or?
Exactly. Yeah, it keeps enough separation of, I always like to say separation of church and state. So my personal stuff stays separate from the corporation.
How did you get that set up yourself or did you use a service to do it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of services out there. I used LegalZoom. It was very easy. I think honestly, it was like 10 clicks and a credit card. You can do anything these days with 10 clicks and a credit card, I believe. But yeah, it was very simple through LegalZoom. But I'm not here to hawk LegalZoom. There's plenty of other providers out there that do the same thing.
Perfect. It at least gives our followers an idea of the service. Did they file your EIN for you or did you do that?
No, no, they did not. So ultimately, they gave me all of the articles of incorporation, the state that I filed in, all of that good stuff that I needed. It was all based on my personal information, and then I actually went to the IRS, to their website, and it's very easy. You could just Google EIN IRS, and just make sure you go to the .gov website. Like, don't click on a scam link. Like, please be careful when you click. You can do anything with 10 clicks and a credit card. Okay. But just make sure you go to the IRS, you'll take your articles of incorporation and you'll use those documents to actually fill in a form on the IRS's website, and they will then kick out an EIN to you. And that employer identification number, excuse me, not employee, employer identification number will become very important for later stages of the process, like a bank account, QuickBooks, your end of your tax filing, etc.
If you don't know what an EIN is, it's basically a social security number for your business. Okay, so then what did you do next? I'm assuming you probably took that and set up your bank account.
Yeah. So I took that. I went to the bank that I prefer. With all that information, requested a bank account. Wouldn't you know it? 10 clicks and a credit card, you can get anything you want. And I stood up my bank account. And so then now with a bank account, I can at least start, recording the transactions for like my Google workspace and my Canva account and my Slack profile and all that, or my Slack workspace, excuse me. I can record the transactions against that card instead of my personal card, so that again, those are counted as business expenses instead of as like personal expenses.
Makes sense. And along those lines, what do you do for accounting services and tax services? Are you doing that yourself, or did you get help with that as well?
Yes, yeah, no, I'm not a tax expert or an accounting expert by any means. I mean, I do get involved in finance areas with the consulting that I do, but I would fire myself in a heartbeat from either of those jobs. So no, I definitely rely on experts. I had a referral made to me for a tax expert in the state that I file in. A lot of the services that you use, like LegalZoom or QuickBooks or whatever you use for your invoicing and so on, will offer you those services through there. I like to build a real relationship, so I like to find boutique places that are referred by other people. It's also how my business is built, so I like to pay that forward. Kind of the baseline that you get out of those products like QuickBooks and your bank account are enough to get you there.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you would that we missed, or advice you would give people who are thinking about starting their own company and getting through the process to legalize it?
Yeah, I think it's super important to understand that it's really not that daunting. I'm not any smarter or any better than anybody else out there. Like if I was able to do it, you can too. It grants a lot of freedom, a sense of independence, really, a sense of like getting your hands on something and really, really owning, especially in a very digital world that we live in these days. So don't be afraid to take that plunge.
Thanks for joining us, Mike. I really appreciate it. And for those of you watching, leave a comment below if you would like links to any of the tools or references that Mike provided.